It's great to be back with another episode of What We Wish Our Parents Knew. Emmanuel, let's hear it.
My mom would argue that I don't need a boy for now, and she can actually seize my phone for months. Social media doesn't affect me academically. If I'm failing in class, it could be for another reason, and so seizing my phone won't help at all. You can actually supervise my dating. It's called supervised dating.
Really? Supervised dating? Interesting. I wonder how many teenagers will actually agree to have their parents supervise their dating. But this 14-year-old girl has said so many things in this one issue. She has alluded to the fact that she's not doing well academically. She's also mentioned the fact that her parent or her mom, as a punitive measure, has shut her off from social media, has seized her phones, and she believes that it is not social media that is affecting her performance academically, and that she doesn't see why she cannot keep dating. That's not what is affecting her academic performance. And rather than block and ban her from dating and ban her from social media, why doesn't the mother practice more of what she calls supervised dating? Very interesting. I will try and take the issues one at a time. Social media doesn't affect your performance academically? Who says? Truth of the matter is that it can, if you do not know how to manage your time and order your priorities. And so parents, where you feel that social media is actually responsible for your child's academic performance, negative academic performance, and you need to regulate the time that they spend on social media, by all means do. Even if it is not affecting their performance, the time you spend on your screen must be regulated. There's a lot of screen time addiction going on, and it takes its toll in different ways. It affects your eyesight, it affects your mental well-being. There's some people who spend so much time on Instagram, for instance, and they end up depressed because they're looking at somebody's packaged life and comparing it to their own reality. And they're feeling, when will I ever attain this? And rather than focus on things that are real and important, they spend so much time in dream and package land. Can social media affect academics? Yes, it can, but that's not the only thing that affects it. A lot of other things can affect people's academic performance. That's on one side. Then she talks about supervised dating. I mean, like I keep saying, I'm a mother to two young adults. I can't imagine them agreeing for me to follow them on a date. But then perhaps maybe that's not what she means by supervised dating, because I remember reading in some articles where supervised dating means being kept abreast with what your child is doing when she says or when he says that they're going on a date. My problem with that is, where do we draw the line? Okay, so you say to me that you're going to the cinema, and I say, okay, no problem, I'm supervising you. Go, let me know when you leave the cinema. This child becomes creative, leaves the cinema, except if I'm putting a monitoring device or a tracker on the child. How do I know where the child branches between the cinema and and home? So it goes beyond that. It boils down to building trust. And trust is built by both parties. On the part of the parent, positioning themselves in a way that their children feel that they are trustworthy. And I can tell you anything and it will not end up in a lecture or you sermonizing or demonizing or whatever it is. So I can come and tell you that there's a boy I like. As is age appropriate, you have the conversation and say, okay, what do you like about this boy? What do you like about this girl? Okay, you want to go on a date. What does date mean? Break it down. Does it mean you are going to watch a movie? Can I trust you to say you're going to be where you say you're going to be? What time are you coming back? Like I said, it has to be age appropriate. Asking a 25-year-old what time you are coming back, you are setting up yourself for a lecture that you would really not want to have. But when you're talking about a 14-year-old child, then you need to have boundaries. And that is always best when it is done proactively. So, before you even get to that stage, begin to have rules and regulations which are agreed by both parties or discussed by both parties. Yes, you may not necessarily agree, but discuss it. Bring them to the table of conversation and of discussion. These are the rules we're setting. Let them be responsible, because one of the things we need to teach our children is how they can self-regulate. You are going to send them off to boarding school, whether it's home or abroad. Who is going to help them know when it is time to shut down and study? Even if you do not have a device, you can spend your time doing something else, gisting or daydreaming. If you do not know when to prioritize and when to shut down, then it becomes a problem. Now, the other thing she talked about is the fact that her grades, she has alluded to the fact that her grades are not up to par, and she says it is not just because of social media. If her grades are not up to par, and if you have a child whose grades are failing, it becomes necessary to find out what the reason is and take necessary steps to help that child shore up their grades, especially when you know that the child has the capacity to do a lot better than he or she is doing. Because the truth of the matter is that, unfortunately, it's a reality. Some children do not necessarily fare very well academically, and we need to know what happens. Perhaps they're taking a course or a subject that they're not very good at. Are we the ones putting pressure on them? If that's the case, why don't we tilt them towards their natural bent? If one is more inclined towards art, why must you insist on science? So like I said, this young 14-year-old has talked about so many things. But parents, please do not get on any guilt trip. If you find out that your child's performance academically is not up to par, based on the child's capacity and capabilities, please take whatever steps you need to take. But I've found out that it is more effective when you call them to the table of dialogue. You see, if we want to parent our children the way our parents parented us and tell them you must do this, and if we are ruling and parenting by force and by fear, they will only obey and succumb for a while. The moment they get out from under your roof, they will do whatever it is that they want to do. We want to raise responsible, productive individuals who are able to self-regulate, who are able to know and order their priorities, who are able to know what to do when they should do it. And that's why parents, the best way to do it is to instill in them values, which is why we say that keep reinforcing values as you parent in this digital age.